Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, I'm really excited about today's conversation. I've really got a fantastic entrepreneur, Trevor. He's going to talk to you all about his background, his journey. He's got a fantastic story. And like I said, I love bringing entrepreneurs and guests such as Tyler on the show and just hearing stories of resilience, entrepreneurship, everything. So Tyler, welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me here. I'm glad to be here, talk about anything business, marketing. You know, we could talk about content, we could talk about the world. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I know. Kind of give people your backstory, your background, and how you got started, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, long journey. Maybe I'll pick up from kind of the entrepreneurship part. So I kind of begrudgingly opened my first business while I was in college. I was studying biochemistry here at ASU, had a full-time job, and then I decided I was going to start working on cars in my backyard. And I got in trouble by the city of Scottsdale. They don't like you ripping paint off cars in the driveway. And that basically led to, opening a, I don't even think you can call it a shop. I basically moved into a lean-to bay, into a trailer that had no water and no electricity, and thought I was going to start this business. And luckily for me, I didn't know what I know now, and I started it with almost nothing, and probably wouldn't advise that I do that again, but I didn't know any better then. Made every mistake along the way, but somehow worked hard enough that I outworked those mistakes. It became a really interesting company to most people, had household name clients, grew to multiple locations, sold a couple years ago, started a couple other businesses along the way, sold those as well. Then I've started a group of new businesses in the last 3 months, and that's what I'm doing now. So hopefully that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. And I love this idea of entrepreneurship, and kind of talk about, we're going to kind of break it up into very themes. So one is championing the underdog, and you talk about how small businesses can change the world, explore the power of small businesses, and also, as well as with a focus on your content for good initiative, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
My favorite topics. Business is, I love talking about business, mostly because of it as a tool, but content for good and the way entrepreneurship and especially underdogs can change the world, that's my passion in life. I love it. So I could weigh in a little bit on the underdog philosophy if you care to hear it.
Oh yeah. I love that. Yeah, I want to hear. I'm always championing the underdogs. I'm always fighting against bullying, redefining heroes. So
yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, the basic premise is, I believe, because I had kind of a rough childhood, and and I was the underdog, I guess, myself at one point. And then I think about like my passions today. It's like I am in business because I need to become successful as possible, because I have a incredible heart to want to change good things for the world, right? And so I would say, if you're out there right now and you have an amazing heart, and you just don't have the resources yet to make the impact that you want, get out there, get into business, call me, I'll help you for free. Let's get you like some resources to get started. And so I believe, and I have a podcast on bullying, and so we interview a lot of people that were bullied and now have become successful adults. We interview in our docuseries people that are heroes. These are usually people that have like had a tremendous amount of success and use that success to change things of passion. And then I have my own podcast, Underdogs, and where we like really try to get to the crux of how to help underdogs, how to elicit more underdogs. And the whole goal here, in what I've learned through all these things, is like, if we get people from adversity hard backgrounds, different backgrounds, painful backgrounds, and we get them into success, they go back and they change the things that they were passionate about, or like those struggles, and so that's why you have to take people that are underdogs, you have to help them with success, and then they go back and they change the world. So I feel like it's a collateral impact. That's why I work in it.
Yeah. And so you transitioned from, a challenging childhood to become a successful entrepreneur. Can you share a pivotal moment that shifted your trajectory?
So it's so tough, and it's like borderline. You don't like, nobody needs to feel bad for me, right? I'm good with all this stuff,
Yeah.
but like as a kid, I was told I was stupid. I didn't get the best treatment from teachers. My father was in prison. So, automatically they figured that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And so, and I think back to it, it's not just me, kind of venting. It really wasn't fair. And I believed that for a long, long time. I'd like, okay, maybe maybe I am not smart. Maybe I am these things. And, I don't know truly why, but one day I was like, you know what, I'm going to dare this college thing, even though I was like barely nearly a high school dropout. And I got into college and I was so afraid to do it. And I had to start at all the most basic courses because I did exactly what they wanted in high school, which was give up, and so, but once I got in, I was like, you know what, this stuff isn't that hard, and it was like, originally I was on a business track, which is weird because I came back to it too. But, and then I was like, you know what, I could do this. And I was like, not only that, but what is the hardest degree I can possibly think of? And at the time, like the hardest degree I knew of was biochemistry. So I'm to do that. I'm going to prove them all wrong, And I think that was the pivotal point in like changing everything for me, because once I saw that I could do anything, then, like the world is my oyster now. And I loved my biochemistry program. I'm glad I got into it. I had a lot more reasons than just a chip on my shoulder. I use it actually all the time. People wouldn't think so. I'm a huge fitness nut. So I get to be very informed with all that, for one, and there's a myriad of other reasons too. But yeah, that was the defining moment, finally making it up on my mind that I could do anything. And now I truly believe I can do anything, I could believe anybody can. It just takes that pivotal moment of deciding that you can.
Yeah. I love that moment when you see in someone where it just clicks, like they believe, like it's the belief. It doesn't matter, but once you have that kind of belief, and then you'll find a way to, manifest what you want to do. And all of it takes, it takes a lot of courage. Which is we'll talk about biochemistry and MBA, but one thing is talking about is you've assisted over 200 struggling entrepreneurs for free. And what's the most common hurdle you've seen high potential entrepreneurs face, and how do you advise them to overcome it?
So there's a lot. Number one is I work in these systems too, like every day now still, it's like so I'm in our studio right now, but we have kind of a little compound here, let's say. And so one of the things we do here is a lot of content production, it's like we do a lot of podcasts here, meet a lot of interesting people, and so, but on top of that, we have a facility just where we give free seminars on small business. We have workspace for small business people that don't know what they're doing. So they can come in and they can sit in a chair, and I'll help them with accounting. I'll help them with marketing. I'll help them with their business plan, whatever they want help with. And, I think that is one of the keys, right? The information, especially at the beginning stages, because when I get into the people that are struggling to the point where they need me to come to their business, now I'm 3 years in, right? And they're already having a lot of problems that actually could have been avoided in what I call the ideation phase, right? If it doesn't work on paper, and I don't mean for everybody out there, depending on the audience we have listening to us right now, please do a business plan. But if you're not the type of people that are going to do a business plan, then at least jot some things down on paper. And this is one thing that I work on, right? And I've developed a sheet now that's fill in the blanks, and it does all the major things that a business plan does. And basically at the end, I've developed a system to tell you if the business checks out or not. And if it doesn't, we start over, right? It doesn't mean the business can't exist. It means it can't exist that way. And so I would say 3 years down the road, it saves that, right? Because one of the major problems is around accounting. Everybody thinks it's marketing. Everybody thinks it's all these. It's accounting almost always, And so I spend a lot of time in that, because the first thing I hear when I walk into a business, Tyler, I need marketing. If I just had more clients, it's so let's talk about that, right? And so I give this analogy all the time. It's what are you going to market? Well, we're going to market this Snickers bar, okay, All right. Tell me about the Snickers bar. Yeah, the Snickers bar is our #1 seller. Like we just need more clients on it. It's like, okay, well, what's the margin on the Snickers bar? I don't know. Okay. So now I'm like, well, let's go backwards a little bit. Let's look at your financials. And so when we dive into the financials, we turn out a lot of times they're losing money on the Snickers bar. So now we're going to market something to lose more money, right? And so that's just a couple things, like having a good plan from the start, and like testing out this stuff. We should know our margins before we start our businesses, for sure. And then and then like really embracing the books, and I didn't do this right away either. I have a whole 2-hour story that teaches you accounting, around like how I didn't embrace the books, slowly but surely, started to getting better. And now I'm the biggest accounting nerd ever. Like I am, like, it's a crystal ball for your business. You have to do it. And all you small business people, please, even if you have a bookkeeper, CPA, please be involved with your books until you can actually have the accountant CPA in your building full time. Otherwise, they don't understand your business the way you do.
Yeah. Which talks about, you've studied biochemistry, MBA. I've talked a lot of, and I love people that, have a academic rigor. And how has your background influenced your approach to business?
So I was lucky enough, and what's weird about it is like the industries I've been in, like I almost feel silly saying this in a way, but like I was actually looked down upon a little bit for going back and getting an MBA because it took that scrappy, it almost took me down a notch because I was this scrappy, coming up by your bootstraps, starting from nothing. And then it's like all of a sudden when I joined that MBA crowd, they like changed to them, it's like, but I'm a person that always wants to continue to learn. I do not regret the MBA at all. Now, I'm lucky I had several businesses under my belt and I had some business success. So I knew exactly what I needed to learn and, what was not so helpful for the small business world. Because, let's be honest, MBAs are really like more poised towards the big business world. But it doesn't mean that I didn't grab some tools out of there that aren't usually used in small business. I use them in small business now, right? Like some amazing changes came as a result of my MBA, not to mention like the network that came with it. I became really, much unlike my high school years, I became really close with a lot of my teachers. They were all interested in what I was doing. They became good friends. Can't say enough good things about the dean of the business school. First of all, for giving me a chance, like I'm amazed that they even let me in the building. But it's like so I'm a big proponent of education, either like formal or self-taught. You don't have to get an MBA. You don't have to get an undergrad to do decent in business, but it's like you need to constantly be learning one way or another. And then the other thing, the analogy I think it's important to weigh in on is like I don't go into my MMA gym and I say, train me, make me the best in the world. No, I go in, I have to put in the effort, I have to put in the work, I have to hit my own bag in my off hours. I have to do all these things to be successful in the things I want to do. School's the same way. You can't just, hey, give me the learning, give me the learning. I'm here. It's like you have to dive down your own, like interests, and like the amazing things is like when you're introduced to something, follow that path because that path is the real learning, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this idea because kind of like hitting the books and you kind of like get ideas and you kind of like digest it, kind of think about how you can apply it, what you can execute on, which talks about this idea is this with your redefining heroes and you're delving deep in the stories of resilience and heroism. What's a story that has profoundly impacted you personally?
So I'm so lucky and so fortunate. And this is what business does for you, right? I was a welfare kid, with not much like direction in life, not much hope at doing that much. And like now, because of business success, I get to do whatever I want to in this world. And what I want to do is change this world. And if you don't mind, I'll just backtrack just slightly on the way that like Redefining Heroes came about.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary on Mexico and like I was watching and these kids were all looking up to the banditos down there. And like, even like they have these songs and banda songs and it's like, hey, Ghost Killer is the man, it's like they sing it in the, and I'm like, these poor kids, if these are the heroes of these kids, we're a result of our heroes, right? And so I'm like, we got to change this. We got to have better heroes in this world. And, you know, like the people that are doing these amazing things, like somebody needs to help them. They're already working so hard. And so I had been watching this man I've been watching a couple people for a while that are my heroes, personal heroes. And I got to meet my Michael Jordan of this world, and I'm blessed for that, you know? And so I followed this guy, Scott Neeson, for a couple of years, have you ever heard of him by chance?
No, who is it?
Nobody has. And wait until I tell you a little bit about him, because you'll be like, how the heck? And so anyways, Scott Neeson was a high school dropout. And then he ended up working in a projection house running films. And then he parlayed that into being president of Fox Films. And he did Braveheart, Titanic, X-Men, bunch of other amazing films. Scott has everything, right? The $1 million house, the beautiful Hollywood girlfriend, you know, the cars, all this stuff. And so he takes a trip over to Cambodia, and he sees these kids that are literally dying in these trash dumps. They're working for like 15 cents a day, like literally getting burned and run over by trucks and all this stuff. And so he gives up everything, sells absolutely everything he owns. He's now 18 years later, has 1,700 kids that he takes care of their families, feeds them so they don't take them out of school, food, housing, everything. Right. And I went over and met Scott as part of our first episode for Redefining Heroes. And you're like, this is my Michael Jordan, you know, like, what if he disappoints me or whatever? Go over there. Scott is 10 times the man I had such a lofty expectation of him already. And he is 10 times the man that I could have thought. We become good friends, you know, like he's an amazing dude. I do anything I can to support them. We're working on releasing the first episode right now. The only thing that's holding us back is we want so badly to tell Scott's story so well. We're going back again to film in Cambodia in January to make sure we got everything we need. So amazing man. That. But yeah. And we've got some more amazing people, but it's tough to rein in somebody like Scott. Scott is like unbelievable.
Yeah. The other thing you're involved in is this, and I love how you have this underdog and you figured out and you created success and you're getting back. The other thing you're doing is Glaive is this. Tell the audience what Glaive is, and it's designed to level the playing field for small businesses. And in today's digital age, what challenges do you see these businesses facing, and how does Glaive address them?
So, folks, if you're not watching this and you're seeing this at home, I have a huge smile on my face because I love to talk about Glaive. Glaive is another, you know, it's like you can't beat systems without working in systems, right? I've learned a lot about, you know, how government and politics interact. You know, I had an amazing MBA program where we went to DC and we really learned how politics influences business. I've been a part of a subset of our city council, learned how small business works with the government. So, you know, one of Glaive's MOs is banding together a big enough small business community because we need to impact some of the regulations. The other thing is, I can't stand the way we put up all these red flags for the underdogs. It is too hard to open a business. It's too confusing. It should not be that way. So Glaive is a technology company that basically levels the playing field. Number one, we hope to bolster, you know, small business people in general, a lot around education, a lot about simplifying this. By the way, that's where my degree comes in the most handy, because biochemistry is complex, right? I mean, some people say it, but I'm no genius. You know, what I am good at is I'm good at taking really complicated things and I'm good at dumbing them down so I can understand them, right? That's how I did well in biochemistry. And I do the same thing with business principles. You know, it's like I can make anybody understand something in business, no problem, because I just take it to simplicity so I can understand it, right? And that's what Glaive's basically aiming to do. And it protects small businesses. It joins a community of small business. When I started diving into like this idea of just helping small business people and then using technology to do it, I dove into the data too, which I should have never done maybe because now it's open, like it's changed my life, because I realized that now small business is dying. And then like, I think about what it's done for me. Now I can be out exploring the world for heroes. You know, it's like I came from nothing and business brought me something, right? And so like, we need to not let small business go away. And I don't want to like spend the whole show on stats, you know, but it's like, I could give you a ton that you're like, whoa, I didn't know small business did that. I didn't know it did that. I didn't know it did that. I didn't know we were losing it. I didn't know the impact on it. It's like, if we're not paying attention to the underdog, again, small business, a lot of stuff goes away. So that's what Glaive does.
Yeah, I love that. And like we need more entrepreneurial, we need more capitalism. Um, I was
Yeah.
recently listening to a interview by Howard Schultz, and he was saying that if he were to start Starbucks today, it wouldn't survive just because of the climate and just all of the rules and regulations. So we need, we need a pro business friendly climate. Small business is kind of what, you know, a large sector that employs a lot of people, provides a lot of jobs and value, and that can't go away. So I
Yeah.
love what you're doing.
We got to
Go
stop
ahead.
roping business into business category. We got to talk about small business and big business separate, because none of this stuff affects a very large company. It only affects very small companies. And I
Yeah,
know we call business this dirty word these days, but these are the average citizens. These are the people
yeah,
that dare, like, hey, I don't want to work at Joe's plumbing company forever. I want to be Joe. It's like that.
yeah,
This is your opportunity. These are the same people in your community every day, paying your taxes every day, taking care of you from a personal level. It's like we need more small business. And that's why I'm like just so impassioned. I feel like all the work that I'm doing is like going to provide tremendous impact for the world. And I am delusional enough to think that I want to change some things in this world. So
yeah, yeah. I love that. And I love your passion and enthusiasm. Kind of rounding it out, you've been in diverse hobbies. You mentioned MMA, longsword practice, and how have these experiences outside the business world shaped your entrepreneurial mindset?
like I don't know where I'd be in life without my MMA gym and my friends there. It's like it's unbelievable. I would suggest everybody has this vision in their head of thugs or whatever that are going to be in there. And don't get me wrong, we hurt each other a little bit, but you don't have to. It's like,
Yeah.
and so it's been imperative, to my business success, because it's taken the stress down. I used to train about 26 times a week, and now my
Wow.
body's aging and doesn't allow me to, but it's been invaluable. Longsword is another thing that my brother and I got into. Really enjoy that. It's an amazing sport. I love the art of movement. Boxing is beautiful. Kickboxing is beautiful to a lesser extent. Medieval sword fighting is absolutely gorgeous to me, and so I love being a part of those movements and, stress. I think it's really important to try to build your character into a well-rounded one. And so I like
Yeah.
things that like make me a more well-rounded character in life. I look at my life that way. I'm a role-playing character and I'm just trying to build things daily.
Yeah. And I love, training your body is like training your mind. It's kind of like a spiritual practice. And, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of them are in MMA or they're in like running or like
Yeah.
various sports that kind of, cultivate that, that mindset. I love that. Um,
You need
Last
it.
thing is, go ahead.
I was just going to say, otherwise,
Yeah.
I tell people from the beginning too, it's like, so I get to work with a lot of new entrepreneurs. I'm like, do you drink? Is one of the first things I ask them. Is like, or what's your stress relief?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, it's okay to drink. I don't personally do it because it does nothing productive in life, but it's like, if
Yeah.
you're stressed out and you're a drinker instead of have a healthy habit, when you get into that business and you've been lied to and it's stressful and you thought it was going to be easy, you're going to default to the bottle, and that's going to be no good for your
Mhm.
business. So have
Mhm.
healthy things. Like I had MMA, right? I had weightlifting, I had these things before I got into business. And so then I maybe destroyed my body a little bit more because of the stress, but I like, so maybe I'm not making my point very well right now, but it's like, the point is have something that's good for your mind. And like entrepreneurs, a lot of them are like go-getters with this stuff, running MMA, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Kind of finally, what's the core message? And I love this discussion. What's the core message you like every aspiring entrepreneur or individual facing challenges to take away from your journey and initiative?
Ah, that's tough. I honestly think these days a lot about working in the micro, and I think it's a lot of micro decisions and a micro interactions, right? And I believe in kindness in this world too, even when people aren't so
Mhm.
kind to you, and so if my journey's taught me anything is
Mhm.
that when you have success, it is an obligation. I think that if you've got here and you could I could call myself self-made, but along the way somebody bought for my businesses. Some of my training
Mhm.
partners has supported me in the gym, and lended me an ear or a shoulder to cry on, so I could get to the levels that I'm at now. And now I feel very fulfilled let me put it this way. My first business was very first world, and I struggled in it immensely after a time. The coolness factor
Mhm.
died, to some and to give you, I mean, we had 4 reality shows thrown our way. Everybody thought we were the coolest thing, you guys do such cool work and everything, but it wasn't fulfilling. It is now in life where I have businesses,
Mhm.
sure, and they make money, but I'm daily, probably 30% of my time is just focused on helping people, and my life is amazing. Like I
Yeah.
can never say in my whole life that I was happy, satisfied, anything like that. And I never thought I would be. I just thought there was no joy for me. And the second I started using what I know now through the journey, to help people, and help people through business, it's like my whole happiness is there now. Right. And so if I had anything to say, if you can't find the happiness, work hard, get to it. And now when you can, use that to make a change for something, and you'll find that happiness, I think.
Yeah. I love that. How can people contact you, follow you, check out your podcast, reach out to you on social? You've got a large Instagram following. And how can they contact you?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody first and foremost for the support, because I know everything I say is not real popular. I tell you how hard it is, right? And that's not popular in this day and age, but thank you, obviously, for my support. I think the best way to contact me, and I'm very accessible. If you have a question about business, if you need help with business, I do help everybody. I will, you message me on business, I will help you. I promise. In Phoenix here, we have a facility come down. We have a place to book. I usually take about 10 appointments a week at this point. Sit down with you. At Tyler Uriah is my social media handle for Instagram. Underdogspodcast.com is our new podcast. Bully This, a Hero's Journey .com is our bullying podcast. My business stuff, I don't bother plugging that. If you want to spend some money at my companies, I'd appreciate it. But more so, I want to help you guys with business, and I appreciate any support you give to the content for good efforts that we're doing.
Yeah. And I love that. And what a fantastic way to end the episode. Be sure to check out Tyler's Instagram following, all of his resources. Those will be in links in show notes. And thanks so much for an inspiring podcast.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Absolute honor. Anytime, and anything I can do for your audience, I'm glad to do it.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.